You are out session.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are now in session. First item on our agenda is the Commissioners' report, invoices. I didn't have any questions on the Commissioners' report. Anybody else?
I have none.
Our invoices.
Is that it?
That's it.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we would approve the Commissioners' invoices and reports as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next we have payroll report.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the payroll report.
A motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that moves us right up to... Okay,
All right, good morning. Seth Scott, District 6 Juvenile Detention. My management assistant is going to be attending a school lunch program conference in Boise in 2 weeks. And she requested from me if she could take a personal vehicle because she's going to do some stuff after the conference for a few days, staying over with her daughter, shopping for wedding dress, those kind of things. I initially told her no because I didn't think the county was allowing those kind of things. I talked to Christy Davenport about it, and she said that it's something that has been approved occasionally at like half rate, but it would have to be something the commissioners would approve. So I'm here seeking approval for that this morning.
okay. And usually what we do is just pay half the mileage.
Okay, and she's okay with that. I told
So
her that.
the 472 that's on this sheet, is that full mileage?
No, full mileage is $472. So I figured if you do half, it'll be $106.
So this needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Well, he'll turn it in, just when you turn it in for one way.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any concerns with that?
No, I was thinking about that this morning, and that's what we've done in the past, so.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the mileage reimbursement for one way per the discussion.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
When you
Thank you.
submit that, also just put approved and today's meeting date.
Okay, I'll do
Like
that. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thanks. See ya.
All right, let's go Jamie.
Jamie Pearson, Bannock County Fair Board.
Nikki Ennis, Bannock County 4-H Extension.
Alex Hauser, Grounds Coordinator.
So Commissioners, we're coming before you today. We have two 4-H clubs that want to practice the last 3 weeks before fair, and they are requesting waived fees for arena use. One of them, neither one of them could make it. One girl works in Preston, couldn't get off work, and then you talked to the other and she couldn't get off work.
Yeah.
So we already have one 4-H group that goes on Tuesdays. One of these is requesting Monday and the other one's requesting Thursday. So we've worked with Alex to make sure that the arena is available. He's good with that. He's going to work with Tony with the city to make sure that he can water those additional days so that he can work the arena for him.
So talking about that, when we work with the city, does it cost the county for water?
He said that he did ask if it was for 4-H. So I told him just let me know what it cost, if it is a load or two. so he hasn't brought me anything yet.
They haven't called me about it. It sounds like they're not gonna charge it if it's for a 4-H group, but if we do it for an event, they'll charge us for it, is what it sounds like.
And that's my only thing that I'd say is if the city's charging us, we need to have the 4-H group pay whatever we're being charged, and then we can talk to the city, about their donations.
I can
and
call
stuff.
and talk to Keidron and double check.
The only other thing is time for grooming. How much time do you spend grooming the arenas for something like this?
It takes about 45 minutes for me to groom the arena, so I give myself about an hour.
That's something
But
that we
it's about
usually
30 to
charge
40
for,
minutes.
just the time to groom, because that's something that we wouldn't normally do if we weren't having this.
Right.
So it's just a minimal fee to cover our costs. What do you think would be a fair charge for that? $50?
Could be, yeah, or $25 really, an hour,
Okay.
because it'd take about an hour, not even an hour for me to do it. Fuel cost, but that's really not much, really, maybe $20.
That'd be the only concern I would have. is
Are we charging them up here?
We,
We're not charging
I
for
don't think we
that.
charge up here, do we?
for the grooming, we don't?
Not
think we
on
charge
4-H groups.
Oh, okay.
We do on everybody else.
And we
But
have one 4-H group down there right now that's already been waived.
But 4-H, we generally haven't, and we just encourage the 4-H groups to come and participate during the fair, to clean up.
And I think we are gonna try
Anytime.
and utilize the 4-H groups this year to maybe help with ticket taking, because we're charging for all the events in the arena. And so me and Pioneer are still trying to work out how that's gonna work.
Okay.
And
And they're pretty good about
So-
canteens.
Yeah, and we do a cleanup night right before fair, and so Alex is working on some stuff.
Well, there
to
should be a
this.
couple times
Yeah.
during the year where these 4-H groups, just like up here, we
Yeah.
have days where we come in and we clean the whole facility, and then 4-H groups ought to be,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that,
Yeah.
they did ask
Told to
about
come
like,
in.
what we can do for the cleanup day. So they'll come over and help, and I do have some stuff lined up for that to clean up.
and talking about, they're taking tickets, but they're not taking money?
No,
Okay,
no,
okay.
everything's taken at the ticket. You read her mind, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. If they're not county employees.
All they do is just stand at the gate and check for wristbands.
Okay,
If they don't have a wristband, they send them back to us. So,
Mm.
yeah.
okay. Any other questions?
No, I'm good. Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the 4-H request for fee waiver.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
While you're there, just real quick, share with these guys what you just told me outside about the building and stuff that we're,
So I sent another email yesterday, I was gonna forward it to you, and she has not even responded, so I was gonna reach out this morning calling her. But usually I get her assistant and never get a phone call back, so that's why I started emailing, so I have some tracking. But we don't have a date yet. So we talked to Ernie out there about fencing off that as a construction site during fair if we have to. Nikki and Alex have worked about where we could put 80 sheep and goats. So they're gonna be tucked in every corner of the fairgrounds, but hopefully they'll still call and get it up.
so Dan, I don't want them in that construction site. I don't want to have to come in and clean up after goats and sheep to put a building up after that and take gravel out and put dirt in, and I don't want to do all that work to. So,
I'll call her today and I'll call you.
thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Hal?
Good morning, Commission. Hal Jensen, Planning Director, Bannock County. I'm here to report our meeting with the Tribal Council, Land Use Planning Council. A meeting that came about because of some items that arose with questions on an application internally in our office. I would like to express thanks publicly to Elise Foster, who is on vacation, or she would be with me today. But she was the one who discovered the potential issue and reached out to the tribe. In the process, the tribe then responded back to us and said, yeah, we would like to meet to discuss how our two jurisdictions interface. And it was a very productive and a very good meeting. We had 3 members, I believe all 3 members of their planning council. Daryl Shea, Laurie Niffen, and I think his name was Pat Bronco, but he was quiet and sat in the corner and didn't give us a business card. And but they were very receptive to the fact that we wanted to have discussion about how fee simple lands, which we, for all intents and purposes, have jurisdiction over in tribal ground, and how we would work together. What brought up the potential issue was we had an applicant on 10 acres want to keep 5, subdivide that into potential 2 lots for residential construction, and then the remaining 5 acres he wanted to develop as a gravel pit, which was automatically the red flag, because our ordinance relative to any tribal ground is a single page under the title of special grounds. And it is basically, you apply to us and we tell you what we think would be appropriate, without any oversight from the tribe. And we didn't think that as a community together that was fair to those people, that we would just go grant a potential gravel pit on 5 acres in the tribe. And when you look at the maps, you see that potentially it was all in a residential area. And even though the residential areas of the tribe are potentially even larger than what we see in other areas of Bannock County, it still wasn't being respectful of what it was. In that meeting, we found out a number of things, and I just would like to highlight my respective notes that were impressive or impressed me the most. The Tribal Comprehensive Plan was completed in 2010, and their comprehensive plan is as thick as Christie's note binder sitting right there. It was astonishing. I mean, that thing was 4 inches thick. Our comprehensive plan consists of 70 pages, 35 front and back, as a guiding document. Theirs is very, very inclusive, to the point that I almost assume that it has their ordinance in it, but their ordinance is, for all intents and purposes, is very loose. It's not as restrictive as something that you see in a typical county environment. We did find out that there is case law that exists regarding tribal land use that goes back and was found or developed by the Department of the Interior, approved in '77, and eventually implemented in '78. I would also like to share thanks publicly to Brian Trammell, who has spent a lot of time researching fee simple ground and where jurisdiction lies and who has responsibility. That has helped clarify what we do internally in my office with my team and how we reach out to the tribe, which then brought us to this meeting. In their ordinance, gravel pits are considered mining. They don't want any gravel pits on tribal ground, period. They made it very, very evident that they do not appreciate any mines that have been left on tribal ground from the construction of the interstate, et cetera, over time, that have now just been left and not, for all intents and purposes, been reclaimed. And we told them that we would be very respectful of that, knowing their feelings and intentions. We would never approve another gravel pit on any fee simple ground, regardless of the zone. Okay? We did have conversation about the ethylene dibromide plume that exists in the aquifer. It was discovered in '92, outlawed, some things that they taught me that I did not know. EDB was outlawed, shall we say, in 1963, and our particular plume in our aquifer was not discovered until '92. So it has existed for a long time, and we are aware of it. When we do subdivision in that particular area of the northwest corner of the county, we make sure that the plat has a note that states this is a potential, as well as nitrates, etc. We did review the concept of who do we notify when we have a public hearing relative to their ground, or even adjacent to the north of Reservation Road. Our ordinance reads that property owners within 300 feet of a property line being considered need to be identified. They told us that our current process and procedure was proper and to continue forward, which gave me a sense of calm that I didn't have before.
So Hal, on that point, those people that it's registered to the tribe, not the individual, we send that notification to the tribe, then it's the tribe's responsibility to notify that landowner.
Correct, because the land that's noted is states in trust. So you have adjacent property or structures and neighbors, but we don't have their names, nor do we have formal addresses, etc. And the majority of them are in a rent situation or a lease situation. So therefore it goes to the property owner, which is the federal government, which would never make it back. So we send to two different entities on the tribe, and they said that was fine. They would be the responsible party to then contact those adjacent
Okay.
property occupants, is a good way to put it.
Okay, good.
We did find out that there is currently an open position for a land use director. They currently have a planning director. We have worked with Mr. Alonzo Kobe, as well as Adam Hill, who is their planner. And we've also worked with, I can't remember Monty's last name, legal counsel for the tribe. We've had conversation with him 2 or 3 times over the years, and he's been very, very beneficial to work with. So we also discussed with them that we are editing and updating our comprehensive plan, which then leads us to a rewrite of our ordinance. They were very interested in being a reviewing party and helping develop a more clear ordinance for special land between the two entities, so that we were being respectful of them as a reviewing agent. Even though they would not have jurisdiction, they would be alerted and be aware of what the intent of this particular fee simple ground on the reservation would be doing. Like I said, the meeting I thought was very, very beneficial, very productive. They were very open to the meeting to begin with, welcomed us very kindly. It was a great conversation. They did ask if we would like to meet on a quarterly basis, and we, to be honest, we jumped at that opportunity because that has never been afforded us in the past for years. And when I say us, meaning Bannock County. The new planning council is very open to seeing development and positive growth on tribal ground. And once again, we told them we wanted to be respectful of our community, shall we say, even though we have different jurisdictions and we have our different entities. This particular council seemed very open to wanting to have greater conversation with us. So we would like to, I would like to let you know that from a standpoint internally, I would put under assignment Elise Foster, because she was the one who initially created the contact and has the initial relationship. She would be the one that then would go and schedule the quarterly meetings. In those meetings, myself, Tristan Borkman, Assistant Director, Annie Hughes, Zoning Planner, and Elise Foster, Subdivision Planner, would be in those meetings to meet with them and develop what we anticipate to do with the tribe going forward.
It's positive. It's really good.
Do you have any other questions for me from this report?
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
No, when you set that next quarterly meeting, would you let me know, and if possible, I'd like to attend just to show support and help build that relationship as well.
Okay, so just as an FYI, we anticipate to set up all meetings a year in advance, so that we have every quarter identified and what day those quarterly meetings will be. So it won't be just the next one that I'll let you know of.
That'd be great.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
For me to attend and just show support.
Okay? Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump to Jason.
Yep. Stace, you want to come up? So I invited Stacy Hernandez, owner of Primetime Auctions, to come and talk about this. This is listed with a possible executive session. Stacy said that she doesn't really feel that we need an executive session. This is a copy of the listing agreement for the East Lander building. We'll only need one signature, but she brought copies for each of you to talk about. And I invited her here so that she could talk with you about the process of auctioning a real property building. She auctions off all of our regular property, filing cabinets to desks to cars and whatever, but I invited her to talk about the process a little bit.
So thank you. In front of you is the blue brochure. This is different from our regular contract. This is for real estate. It will need your signature. It does states that you and I would be a client, not a customer, and that we are going to allow other agents to show the property and potentially bring a bidder as well. The next one is our real estate contract, and if you want to go through that with me, on page 1 it just states that the seller is Bannock County. My broker is Michael Wheelock with Premier Properties, so he is the broker. The address is 746 East Lander. Legal description is stated. I did state it was as of to date with the expiration of October 31st. When we do list a property, there is currently a drug testing company, I think,
So
in
the
the building.
for the drug testing that's there,
Yeah.
she'll want them out of there so that we can show it, the full building.
I think that's everybody's comfort level, to show property is vacant. And so we have this set up to go, if approved, August 1st as the start of the auction. I did leave the end of the auction date open to discuss with you guys what date you guys wanted to end it. Typically, we like 4 to 6 weeks. But I don't know what the timeline for the county is on that. So
We've had that discussion. We'll just have to get a hold of Jason and move forward with having that done somewhere else.
Mhm. Yep.
I did go over and meet with Jason and look at the building, and I do have 2 comps attached to the back where we do feel like the starting bid price would be $250,000. We think that that's a fair starting point. If only one person bids, that is the final price, but of course it's an auction. We're hoping to have several bidders, and the price can only go up from there. That is the difference between a traditional and an auction. Auction, we do start low and go up. Traditionally, you normally start high and go down. The other benefit is it's just as is, where is. The county doesn't have to do any repairs, doesn't have to do anything. It's just that. And then we're only charging a 5% buyer's premium. We're not charging any percent to the county. So if whatever the bid price is, we'll just add 5% on, and then that's the payment to Primetime, and then we would split that with a different realtor if they brought that in. Financing, it can go FHA conventional or cash. I'm assuming the county doesn't want to carry the contract.
I don't know, Christy, what do you think?
So on the second page, on item 7, it just does state the buyer's premium again. And then I assume there's no mortgage on the property, so I did say no on that. And then on the third page, we will list it on our website, but as well as our local real estate. It's Greater Pocatello Association of Realtors website as well. We'll add a lockbox, if okay with you, and then we have several websites we post through our auction company that we will advertise that. We have 3 main marketing people in our office that just solely market all of our auctions. We do send out to 22,000 people every auction, and so we get quite a few people of interest. And then this is, I know your legal counsel has looked at everything and they have approved it. On the very last page, page 5, item number 39. These are just the other terms and conditions. Auction will be online at primetimeauctions.com on whatever date we set. We will start closing that at 11 a.m. Opening bid price to be $250,000. Property being sold contingency free and is not conditional upon obtaining financing or inspection. Closing shall take place within 60 days of a signed contract, and non-refundable earnest money to be $5,000. Listing to be held until August 1st. So we won't put it on the MLS until August 1st if it's signed by then, because we want to make sure we have the days on market accurate.
Okay.
So.
Questions?
I'm good. Let's get her sold.
Yep. So I think that we would want to have a motion to have the chair sign all the appropriate documents, and Stace could go through that with you, because there's some spots in there, as you saw, where you need to initial and approve a few different things, and then pencil in that start date.
So is the start date August 1st, and then the end date, if I could propose a date, September 4th would be great. That would give us enough time and we don't have another auction on that date, or September 11th. But I don't know.
4th works.
The 4th works?
Yep.
And Stacy did mention, I gave this to Brian, and I went through it with him, and he had no problems with it. It is a standard Idaho Real Estate Commission listing agreement for all real property in Idaho.
Okay.
Well, if we got your approval, we're okay.
We're going to do it. The biggest hiccup for us is probably going to have drug testing moved out, but I think they know where they're going to go.
We've had multiple discussions on that.
So I think it's just time to see how quickly they can move out, and that'll be that.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the selling of Lander with Primetime Auctions and authorize the chair to sign the contract as discussed and presented, with a start date for marketing of August 1st and a close date and auction date of September 4th.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Do you want me to just wait until you're done?
I'll get it to you. I'll get you the originals. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Because it'll be a minute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Shanda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shanda Crystal, Chief Procurement Officer. I have a procurement update for the board today. If we want to start with the top ones for the Assessor's Annex remodel. The Annex LED lighting was posted on Monday. Will be posted on Monday, July the 15th. It's going back and forth in drafting policies at the moment, as is the acoustic ceiling is the next one, and that will be posted the following day on Tuesday, July 16th. If we skip down to the ones that are open right now, in regards to the assessor's remodel, the fire suppression for the annex was posted yesterday, and that has been released also to 3 companies here in town that might be interested in bidding that project. On the annex HVAC, that was posted last Saturday, and we've invited 7 companies here in town to participate in that one. Both of those projects have a pre-bid scheduled for the 16th, next Tuesday. On the detention center, the cement polishing, that has been published in the Idaho Standard Journal, and will has a pre-bid on Wednesday of next week. For the security cameras, we had a pre-bid yesterday for that, and we had 8 companies attend that pre-bid meeting. It was not mandatory, so it doesn't require that those are the only ones that can attend. But it was well attended. They had a good discussion about some of the questions that the contractors had, and so we have some things to work on for an addendum. But the questions on that will be due officially on Monday, and then our staff will work through to get the addendum out on that on Thursday. On the landscaping for the detention center, those bids are due on Monday, July the 15th. The only other one I wanted to review was the 6th Street project. The city has reviewed our permit and had some questions on it for us, and I wanted to bring it back before the board. As we talked to our engineer about the changes that the city wanted us to make, it would come with a change order that would require funds for that. There are 3 items that the city would like us to adjust. One of them is to install new catch basins on the ends of the streets. That was part of the initial agreement when we took over 6th Avenue from the city. That was in there. And then there's a main water feed in the middle of the street out there. Originally, they were asking us to move it if possible, but that would be really expensive. So they said we could leave it where it was, but they are requiring us to change the lid type that's on there. And then some landscaping that wasn't budgeted for. We are guessing, but none of this is drawn yet. We are estimating about a $50,000 change order to come with these items and labor. But I don't know exactly what that'll be until, if the board approves moving forward with the permit, the engineers will go back and draw it. They'll turn it over to CM Company, and then CM Company would have a change order before the board with a final figure amount. But that is just a guess at this point.
So the city's actually held us up on this permit for a month and a half, which is frustrating to me. We met this week?
Yeah.
We met this week out there and went over these things that they're requiring, and then our engineer went to them, explained things. They're claiming now this is a parking lot rather than a street out here, so then we have a 7% landscaping deal that they require. I still say that we need to talk to our attorneys, and anything on the county should not be the city of Pocatello that has jurisdiction, even if it is within the bounds of the city of Pocatello. Anyway, that's a whole different story. But, and I just brought it up to Christie just before this, so we'd end up having to come up with $50,000 in this project. But we need to get it going, so I would ask that we identify where we can get some funds, and so that we can get this building permit. I mean, we're waiting. This is construction season. It needs to move forward. Concerns, questions?
No, it's got to get moving.
Do you know where the funds are coming from?
Potentially, it's going to depend on how much it costs. I mean, it's $50,000, that's one thing, but if it's $100,000, that's another. We can identify funds once we know what that dollar amount is. And when we go through the clerk's recommendation, I can provide some clarification on that.
Okay.
And then we also have other ARPA projects that some are coming in under, some,
Not by $50,000.
but not, but, well, and we have some that, just like we did with the roof, that may end up not getting done because we have to finish these other projects, in my opinion. But, anyway,
No, let's do it.
I'd ask for a motion on that.
Go ahead.
I'll make that motion, that we move forward with the permit, that we have our engineers draw it up, and that we get this project started. And then we'll identify the change order and the funds that we need for that. Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 Great. I'll report back to you just as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Christie.
Christie Clauser, Comptroller. 3 items before the board, I think. The first item is the approval of unemployment benefits. And I apologize in my rush of trying to get clerk's recommendation done. I did not make copies like I normally do. So I'll just read it to you if that's okay.
That's fine.
We have one Bannock County Events employee that we have unemployment for $90 for this last quarter. We have a couple of elections employees, which is about $1,000. We have one computer services employee where the position was reduction in force. That one is our largest liability of just over $6,200. And then we have a couple of credits, one from the landfill and one from a few years past coroner position that we've got a credit. The total quarter charges are $6,832. We still are using that credit balance from COVID funds, so our current credit balance is $20,254. So these will not be dollars out the door, but we do present to the board for approval.
Do we know how much longer that reduction in force will carry on?
I need to double check. I haven't dealt with that side of things. I think you can get unemployment for a year or 18 months.
Really?
But don't quote me on that because
I think the total's 18 months. You can do an extension. You do so long and then you can do an extension. I think it's like 18 months.
so. Want to approve that real quick? Or?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the unemployment benefits as discussed.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The second item I have for the board is the service agreement on the copier for adult probation that was approved last week, 2 weeks ago, sorry, 6/27. The order came in at the estimate that I gave the board of $5,774. That's going to be paid for out of PILT. You have that reallocation request on a resolution for next week. Again, I was a little busy with budget, so I didn't get that to Nancy. But it will be on the agenda for Tuesday. She's already submitted the request. So I just need that signature so that she can get that ordered.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I move that we authorize chair signature on the copier contract as discussed.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The last item I have for the board is just an ARPA update. We did finally get the enterprise leases payoff done. We did spend the $200,000 in ARPA funds, and we had a remaining balance of about $118,514 that we paid out of PILT that the board approved on June 27th. Those were in this week's claims. So those have been finally processed and paid in next year's operating budget. The other items, I did an update on the money spent to date. We are just over $7 million on what we've spent in ARPA projects already. I have a few adjusted timelines. Shanda has sent me the calendars for the projects that she has. I am missing 2 that she sent me on Tuesday, and I haven't updated that because I'd already submitted this. We've got a couple projects that we still need some clarification on. The miscellaneous monies for the annex, that $75,000, we're just waiting to see what projects within the annex that money needs to go towards. Then we'll know if we have any of those funds available for other items. I'm still waiting on scope of work for the YDC building. That's in progress, but it's just unknown at this time, and that project might require additional funds as well. The courthouse boilers, the contract was signed, and we have some engineering costs that came out of that. We're looking at possibly about $330,000, so we should have potentially $20,000 remaining there, but until that project is a little bit closer along, I don't want to unobligate funds yet. The 6th Street entrance, we now have a, well, potentially completion date, depending on the permit, of November. Still waiting on some invoices for the election ADA doors and ag extension. Waiting on delivery date for the road and bridge dump truck and blades. The sheep barn, Jamie updated us a little bit on where we need delivery dates on that so that we can move forward on those other items for the fairgrounds. Potentially, if we don't need that $100,000 to tear down those buildings, maybe we can use that for some other items if we need to, but until that building's delivered, it's just up in the air, I guess.
And I met with the city of Downey on Tuesday night, and I just told them, those are county buildings. Because they was wondering what they could do with them and stuff. I said, well, they're not yours. Those are county buildings right now, and until we get these other processes going, we got too many projects that's on the back burner, so.
As far as the
tear down and,
property
or,
ownership issues too.
well, they own part of the property, but we own the buildings from
Right.
Brian. That's what he's told me specifically, so. And then whatever we end up doing with them, because they ask about having an engineer go in and check them again and see what we could do with them and stuff. And I says, well, that's on the back burner right now until we get these other projects done.
So potentially that 100,000 we could reallocate, because if we're not gonna have,
Well, and I've talked with Kyle, and we could possibly do that in-house.
but if we're not gonna have, that money's gonna be obligated by December 31st.
And it
So
will.
if we're not gonna know by then,
We will know.
okay.
We will know what this building's gonna cost, we'll know what Sixth Street's gonna do, and we'll know what the school's gonna do.
Okay.
I mean, that's the three projects that I'm concerned about, on monies, on overage, and, so.
I need to double check on the water truck to see if there's some invoices additional coming in on that. Scott did tell me on the flagpole, he's got a little bit more coming on that. Dates on, and I need to move the leases now because those are finally paid. We've got, they're working through the cameras. The brickwork for veterans should be done by August, so we'll have final numbers there, but it should be well within that budget amount. Historical lighting, I'm just waiting on additional invoices. A handful of the jail projects, some of them will be completed this summer, and a couple will not, and we'll probably be under contract. So, that's my update. Any questions?
Questions?
Moving along.
The part that scares me the most is time is moving along. I mean, we got some major projects that we need to make sure that we have contracts out there and that we're getting something done on.
And I will have to obligate those funds. Once those funds are obligated, then making shifts is going to be extremely difficult.
Okay.
So, ARPA did do some changes. Well, the Treasury did some changes over the last couple of weeks on how the reporting's going to be done. I'll let you know how that goes.
Is it better or worse?
I don't know yet, because I've been doing budget and financials. But I have reporting due this month, by the end of the month, so I'll have to take some time and get that figured out. So I'll update you after I get that done, hopefully before the next ARPA update.
Okay. Dan, you have anything to add on any of these projects?
I'm just taking notes on stuff I need to get her updated on. We have some final invoices coming in, and I know there's a little bit of, we came in under on a couple of them, so I'll get that info over to her.
Those I'm not worried about. The projects are at least done.
Yeah,
Waiting on the invoices is little stuff.
we finished up some of the little ones, so I'll get that over to you.
Any concerns? Questions?
No, I think we're trying to get on as quick as a timeline as we can be, and so we'll just keep working with Dan and with Shannon.
That's a big project. Matt did update me on, he's got some furniture bids, so I'll present that as part of the clerk's recommendation. We've got funding identified for it, with 2 different options.
Okay.
So I'll bring that up during the clerk's recommendation.
Okay. All right. Kyle, you're up.
Kyle Brewster, Bannock County Public Works. All right, update for July. What's going on out on all the roads? Starting with Road and Bridge, we've got about a week left of chipping. They're over in the Aramo area, doing Aramo Road, and then they're going to be doing the old highway from where we start in McCammon to Virginia. That'll all be chipped. We've been having a little bit of troubles with our chipper brain on it, and it's like I said before on parts, where nobody knows about that stuff anymore, and we're looking at maybe next year in the next budget or something, we might have to do a kind of an update with the electronics on it, but it's supposed to go with ground speed, and our guys are running it manually, trying to make it through this season, and so it's hard to get the correct amount of chips all the time, so it will waste some chips trying to keep, because if they don't, it just uses whatever we put the oil down and the rest get broomed off the side. So we're trying to keep that as good as we can, but it's kind of been a pain, but there's no other option really for this year, so we're making it through. Trying to get that, but it should be by the end of the month. By the end of next week, we'll be done chipping, and then we have to finish doing a little bit of seal on the top, doing a fog coat on the top, make it all nice and black and get it painted up and make everybody happy that they got some nice looking roads.
Get ready for winter.
And we're working right now on getting all our paving equipment started, so 1st of August we should go move right into paving, and so we'll start with cold mix paving and then head into hot mix paving. So
How many miles are you anticipating to do this year?
for paving,
Yeah.
it's smaller, it's like 4 miles, 3 miles. Hot mix is 170,000 a mile. Cold mix is about 80, so that's why we kind of try to do what we can. One of our problems is if we're clear on the south end, hot mix is a better product, but the haul and everything kind of kills us, so we're doing a little bit of cold mix down south and then a little bit of hot mix here up Mink Creek and on the flats a little bit. But we're hoping that paving is, and that's what I'm kind of trying to get that switch to, is paving's kind of the reconstruction of it. So if you can keep a good chip program and keep up with these chips at 27,000 a mile instead of 170, that's where we're trying to work to. So we've upped our mileage this year and hopefully are going to up it a little bit to get into that program that we'd like to be with our chipping.
So how many years of chipping can you do before you have to go do a rebuild?
So they say 10 years. We've seen, before you might have to pave again or do a layer and stuff, but it depends a lot on the traffic. I mean, some of these roads, say like main collector roads, you'll see different, and then you'll see some subdivisions you can go longer than that.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's hard because you can't just like section out things. We're trying to get things closer to save on our mobilization times and stuff like that, but you still have such a variety of roads in every area, somewhere out faster than the others, so.
Okay.
But it's looking good. The guys are doing a real good job out there and keeping everybody safe. We haven't had any problems with chipped windows and oil on cars or anything like that, so.
So you haven't done any paving
Matthew?
so far this year?
We haven't paved anything yet.
Good. I was down at Downey on, like I said, Tuesday night, in that little loop in the park, and they put down some asphalt there. And it is terrible. I was sure hoping it wasn't us.
Nope, I can say that wasn't us.
Yeah, it wasn't a really pleasant drive for as small as it was. Wasn't smooth at all.
And it's been a little weird. I mean, it's great for chips, but this hot weather's a pain to everybody, but for chipping, it's actually pretty good. It makes them chips adhere better, and we can get them drove down in good time, and so it's doing a good job. But me and Buddy went out and looked over the mowing. We've kind of upped our sterilant program in the weed department, and you might see as you travel the roads we're sterilizing out about 4 foot or so, and that's just for our main thing for mowing and stuff like that, is besides fires and stuff like that, but it's view, the vision of the traffic and stuff like that. So we have so much trouble with trying to get things mowed and stuff, we've kind of put a little more into the efforts of the sterilant, and so that there's a little less mowing to do. It's been a work in progress. We're getting closer and closer to where we have limited mowing. One of the big reasons why, besides on Christie's Road, we haven't hit it yet.
But my neighbor did it.
But she got her neighbor to do it, so we're all good.
I didn't.
They mowed or they?
They mowed. Looks good. But, one of my concerns too with the mowing is like Mink Creek and some of these areas, unless you're right on them real early in the spring, you get to this time of year, fire and stuff like that. I would rather just have it killed back, looks good, and not mess with some of them things. So that's kind of where we're trying to progress to with that program. But we do have the mower out mowing, and the weed department does the sterilant in the spring and fall. They kind of split it up. So they're, during the middle of the summer, they're working on mostly broadleaf. There's you might have noticed in the Chubbuck area, has a lot of thistle.
Everywhere in the county.
And
Drive the old road. in here in Inca.
we're working on containing everything we can with that, and that's what our main objective is right now, is with thistle.
I bet there's an acre to 2 acres of thistle right there in that new subdivision right outside of it.
Oh. Yeah. So it's that big, tall stuff, but there's places we've seen different properties over in Chubbuck, kind of, or in Fort Hall area it's pretty bad, but.
So talking about that and talking about the conversation we just had with Hal, do you guys have any control of roads or anything in Fort Hall?
We do. So we have some roads that are under our county jurisdiction.
And how do you work with the tribe on them?
Well, and that's what I was gonna ask Hal after listening to his conversation, was if we can maybe jump in on with them a little bit in that conversation, because we don't have a lot of contact back and forth. But, so that's kind of the weird thing, is because if they're paying taxes out there, if it's or paying towards like weed program or not and stuff like that, depending on who's out there.
It'd be good to have that in conversations. Well, I know Tony's relationship has improved from what it was, and CBIC, they've got a good relationship out there. The tribes actually utilize them and worked with them.
And we do. We just don't communicate a real lot with the roads. We actually do with the weed program. So Kathy's been involved talking with them on the weed part of things. But yeah, but we do have roads out there that we have through the state that we have the maintenance jurisdiction on right now. And asset management, we're moving along with it, trying to get that stuff all set up. It's been going well. I just wanted to discuss a little bit on the property. I don't know if you got the picture, stuff that there's a county property on the old highway where the grooming shed is and stuff. There's
the old landfill.
31 acres there. I was gonna see if it was okay with the commission if I start working a little bit with Hal to see what usages can be for that property and stuff like that, because I'd like to utilize a little bit of it for storage of some materials, gravel, sands. But looking into it a little more, I've got to see what the usage is classified on that and work with that. And I
Might as well utilize it as a weed patch.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a, 31 acres there, and there's between, if you were ever gonna build a building or gravel pile or anything, I just wanted to kind of get started, that we were okayed, whatever permits were needed, that if the scale house goes in at the landfill in the next summer or something, and we're trying to figure out where to move some of these materials, we would maybe have a spot lined up.
It could be good. Like I say, that was an old landfill. When I was a kid, that's where the garbage was. That's where the landfill was.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I went down there with the pickup a lot of times and dumped a lot of garbage in that area. Scavenged and salvaged.
And then that might be a good use for it, because there wouldn't be, in a lot of that area that you're talking would be just getting like a E&G permit to take some of the sagebrush off and put a little bit of gravel down to be able to put a pile.
Yep.
And we'd be perfectly fine with the other parts to that would be as being a good neighbor, if we need to make berms, if there's a house or something, and do something with it to try to make that happen. But just to start looking into that.
No, I think that'd be good. Any questions?
No, yeah. See what we can do.
Perfect. Auction, Buddy will be bringing in some stuff for auction, for approval to auction, but there was one point I wanted to bring up was we have this paint booth in one of our bays there that we used to paint like trailers or trucks, and at them times we had people that were good at painting. We don't really now, and we haven't used it in years, but it is a chunk of property that's just being wasted space. The problem with it is it's inside of a garage bay, sorry, thanks. A garage bay, but it's a little smaller than the garage bay, and it's a metal shell that you pull in. It's got the air, the water system for fire, all that. So you can't just like pull it out. You have to disassemble it. So we're talking with the auction place that was here earlier about how that could be presented to look at auction it, like come and see, you dismantle it. That's part of the price that you're bidding on, is you remove it and buy the.
They do it with the state auctions all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just something, I don't know if you have any concerns or questions about. It's just something that we just don't use, and we've been taking some of our trucks or beds and stuff to Western States or to one of the local paint companies and doing it just as good price there, so.
No, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I don't have any problem. Clean it up.
Yep, give us some more space.
We have, talking about cleaning up, we have been working, and you guys have approved some of the stuff we've been getting rid of and stuff up on them levels above us. That I'm a clean freak, and some of this stuff is not needed and garbage and just metal, and it's looking really good, and it's giving us a little more property up there to utilize. But Buddy's been over that and been doing a great job with it with our road crew. But only other thing is mosquitoes, and there's not a lot to say besides we're still fogging mosquitoes and checking for in any water areas, treating them areas for larvae, and things have been going good. We have no West Nile. Where our plan for that is they're still doing the treatments for larvae with the six-wheeled outfit a little bit in the wet areas. As soon as fall hits, we're looking at right now different kind of trainings and stuff to get our drone, so Dana can be trained on that, and we can next season be flying drone for whether it's weed or mosquito kind of spraying and stuff like that.
I've been real happy with Dana.
He's been doing a great job.
Talked to him off-site a few times in the projects and what he's learning and growing and developing. And his contacts, he's getting some pretty good contacts
Yeah.
and stuff. I just really jumped into it.
Yeah, he took over, got what certifications he needed. He's done great, and like I said, he's did good with the public out there and tried to explain things to them and work with them well, and everything's been running real smooth.
Getting some of that postmaster training.
Yep. He should know a lot of the area pretty good, so. But that's all I had for an update, if you have any.
Good.
Okay. Let's go into an executive session.
Mr. Chair, enter into executive session under Idaho Code 74-2061 A and B.
Actually, I'm going to ask you.